and just give you just a quick 2 minutes on what we're all about as a tool here. So I should say you're muted. So if you've got any questions, just put them in the question box, and I will jump in and try to help you out. But the basic thing that we're trying to do here is to solve this problem about helping teams stay smart. So we all know it's important to stay smart, stay up to date, continuously learn about whatever topic we're interested in, whether that's customer services or marketing or cloud computing, whatever it might be. The problem I think that a lot of us find is there's just too much content and too little time. You might have some formal training and that gets you so far, but tomorrow there'll be a million new blog posts written, and it's just the challenge of staying on top of them all. If your day is anything like mine, you've got a lot of sources of information that are pushing content to you, or that you go and check. So whether that's social through LinkedIn, Facebook, Google, Twitter, and so on, blog posts that you read from your industry to keep you up to date, messages from friends or colleagues or communities that you're in, as well as all just the regular news sites, adds up to an awful lot of information. And I really like this phrase that Clay Shirky has used, which is, it's not so much information overload, although it certainly feels that way to me. It's filter failure. We're just not controlling the flow of information properly. So too much of the wrong stuff is coming in. And the problem with that, to use that phrase, you probably heard, is the whole signal to noise ratio. The risk is we miss really good, really relevant content because there's so much other stuff coming at us. So we think you need better filters to control the web, and make sure that you're getting what's really relevant to you professionally, and your professional interests in a much more controlled and organized way. But also I think it's important to think beyond just the individual, because so many of us work in professional teams, small teams, often distributed, remote teams. So being able to make sense of content together, being able to seek the same sources of information, review the content, and decide, what does this really mean to us? Is this blog post from our competitor a risk? Is this piece of research an opportunity? Do we need to do something about this? And be able to share it effectively with our close colleagues who are working on the same projects and challenges as we are, and to be able to make sense of it as a small private group, we think is really important. So that's what we're all about. We're all about helping teams to get briefed and stay smart every day, hopefully in less time, through managing their filters better. An analogy that we've liked to use is, think about being a president or being a head of state. Hopefully presidents and heads of state don't go on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn to see what's going on. They get a one-page daily briefing that really boils down to them, for them, really specifically, things that you need to know, the things that you need to worry about, things that you need to focus on. So it goes from being information into action, and that's what we're all about here. So I'm going to show you ways in which you can do that with Anders Pink. I'll just jump into the app itself, which you should be able to see here. Let me just make this a little bit larger for you. I am going to start by doing one of the basic things that you can do within the app here, which is just to create a briefing. So if I just click create briefing here, a briefing is just a word that we use for a collection of articles, and we update briefings every couple of hours with new content from the web. So they never stand still. They're always bringing the new, most recent information from across the web, across multiple different sources. To get a briefing going, all I need to do is start with a couple of keywords. So let's say I'm interested in the topic of content marketing, just to get us going here. Let's say I'm a marketing professional and I want to just stay up to speed on what's happening in my industry of content marketing. I just added as a keyword there. So as soon as we do that, in this view here, I'm seeing a preview of the type of content that I'll see when I save this briefing to make it live. So it's showing me the kind of stuff that's going to come through. As you can see, it's all really recent content. This is yesterday, lots of content published every day about content marketing. So no shortage of content to look at, which is great. If I just want to save this and just make a really simple briefing just about content marketing, I can do that. However, it's pretty broad at the moment because it's bringing in anything that covers content marketing that's well shared across social media and is recent. So I want to make it a bit more specific. Let's say I'm looking for practical content. I'm looking for tips. I'm looking for best practices in content marketing. What you see I've done there is I've just added a couple of additional words here that must appear in the article titles. So now the content marketing briefing that I'm making here has changed. It's much narrower. It's now focused on content that only mentions the word tips or best practice in the titles. As you can see, tips and tricks, tips, actionable content marketing tips. So it's much more narrow and much more focused for me, because that gives me a lot more control if I'm looking for practical content, to be able to see most recent, most relevant content to my specific need. I could decide, well, actually, I'm not interested so much in tips. I'm interested in trends in content marketing. Maybe I want to see what future trends are coming through. So I can just change this must include word to be trends. And now I will see content that's all about content marketing that mentions the word trends in the title. So the types of articles I see are changing completely here. So just by using a couple of simple keywords like that, I can make this briefing really, really specific. We've created little lists of words that you can include in one go here. So for practical content, tips, how to, ways to, guides, step-by-step, mistakes, and so on. If I want to, I can just add all those in one go. And now I will see any article that's about content marketing and uses one or more of these words in its title that's come through recently. Again, we're not going back 5 years looking for kind of basic content. I'm assuming, I'm a professional in this area. I know my basics. I just want to stay up to speed on what's going on. So this is bringing in really relevant content for me. I can also say I don't want to see articles that mention, say, jobs in the title, because I'm not looking for jobs and I don't want to see job adverts in my content. So that's all I need to do to create a really simple keyword driven briefing. I can save this. To save it, I just give it a name. So I'm going to call this content marketing test. And then I just save the briefing. And there it is. Now it's live. Now this will bring through content for me that is recent, relevant, all about content marketing tips and all the other keywords that I just used there. So in a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes at the most, I can just create a really simple briefing. Once I've set it up, I don't have to do anything else to it if I don't want to. I can just start using and consuming this content. I want to show you a couple more things you can do to make it even more refined, though, and make it really, really specific if you want to. So I've just gone back in to edit the briefing. You've seen we had the keywords in here. I can also add influencers. So I know many of you use Twitter to track influencers in your particular areas of professional interest, which is really useful. They share really relevant content. Challenge with it, I think, is once you step into Twitter, those experts are often mixed in with lots of other people that you're following, and there's lots of different types of content being shared all in one big feed. Even if you use lists, you can see off-topic stuff. So what we're trying to do here is bring the best of Twitter's influencer content relevant to your topic into this briefing, so you can see it all in one place without having to go off to social media sites. So I can take some of the suggestions here. So what we've done is we've prepared lists based on how well followed people are and how on topic they are for you. So this has brought up a list for me of people who are well known, well respected in content marketing. I know Joe Polizzi shares good, relevant content, so I'm going to add him to my list here, and you'll see he's just come in over here. I can do the same with Stephanie. I can do the same with Doug Kessler. And I can also add people if I happen to know their Twitter handle myself. So I know Lee Odden is good on content marketing. I'm just going to add him here. What's happening here now is adding to my briefing, which I've already got my keywords in. I will now also see any content that these influencers share that's about content marketing. I won't see their entire Twitter feed because they may have gone on holidays, shared a picture of themselves on the beach. Very nice. I don't want to see it in this briefing because I want this to stay really on topic for me, on my professional work topic. So I can do that here. If I did want to see everything that they're sharing, I can just change this to say show all articles. It'll bring in their whole Twitter feed. I want to keep it very focused on keywords. So that's how you bring in influencers from Twitter and make sure you're seeing really on-topic content from really relevant people. And even if you don't know who the influencers are in this space, if you're just researching an area for the first time and you're not an expert in it, we'll find them for you. We'll find them for you through this suggested influencer list, or you can just add them yourself, as you saw there. I can do exactly the same with websites. So if I know that there's a couple of websites that I really trust and I like the content from, and I want them to feature in my briefing, I can just bring them in. So I'm going to add Harvard Business Review here, hbr.org. And again, I don't want to see every article from Harvard Business Review, not in this briefing. I want to see content, articles from Harvard Business Review that are about content marketing. Again, they have to be on topic for me. So I'm just going to add that URL. You can also add subdomains. If I wanted to use bbc.co.uk/news, it will take that as well. And again, it will only show articles that are on topic in there. So anytime Harvard Business Review publishes something, which may not be today, may not be till next week or next month, but if they do, I'll find it in my briefing and it'll get pushed to me. I can also add RSS feeds. So if you happen to use RSS feeds, feed readers from other sources, I think I've got one that is saved here. Yeah, an RSS feed from The Economist. I can just push that in here and again filter it by keywords. So anytime The Economist writes an article about content marketing, it will show up in this briefing here. I can import RSS feeds from other sources. I can also block domains. If I say I don't want to see any content from YouTube, for example, I can just block it as a domain and keep it out. So that's how you build from just using simple keywords to adding Twitter influencers, adding domains and subsites that you want to see content from, adding RSS feeds, and adding block domains. And by doing that, you can create a briefing that is really, really focused and really, really on topic. You can also make this briefing public. So if you want everyone in the world to see what you've put together, you want to just share your insights and what you've curated here, you could do it by just making this briefing public. Then you can share that URL with anyone in the world and they'll be able to see the briefing. I'm just going to save the briefing now so you can see what it looks like when it's live. Because once you've got a briefing set up like this, we think the real value comes when you start actually interacting with this content. So a couple of things that I can do here is I can now create a team. So if I want to start bringing in other people who can see this content, I can create a team of people. I can just consume it myself. If I just want to use it personally to keep me smart about content marketing, that's absolutely fine. I can just open any of these articles and they'll open in a new window for me and I can read them and just make sense of them myself. Great way for me to stay on top of a subject. But we think the real value comes when you work together as a team to stay smart on this subject. So let's imagine I'm in a content marketing team of people inside an organization, and we all want to develop a daily habit of staying on top of the latest trends. Rather than us all going off to Twitter, looking at our own feeds or our own favorite blog posts and swapping emails back and forth saying, did you see this or did you see that, or pasting it into Slack or whatever it might be, you can do it all here. So I can create a team here, which might be, say, my content marketing team. Create the team. I can then invite people into the team. So I can just put their email addresses in here. They don't have to have the same domain as me. They can be from anywhere. So I can create a team within my organization. It can be a team of a professional community from across multiple different places. It could be a membership body, whatever I want it to be. But I can just invite people in through an email address here. Or I can use this sign up link and just create this URL and then just paste it into a LinkedIn group or wherever I want to put it. Anyone who gets that link can join the team. Once you've got a team set up, you can start doing interesting things with this content to start making sense of it for each other. So if I just jump into another team here, you get your different teams through the drop-down list here. I'll just jump into this startup community team. So this is a team of people who are interested in staying smart about startup content. So all of the briefings in here, you saw we just created a briefing on content marketing. These briefings are about entrepreneurship, growth hacking, starting a business, and so on. So all relevant content for this audience. In the homepage here, all of those briefings come into one place. So I get a kind of an aggregated view of everything from all of those different briefings. So I can quickly just kind of scan it and see what's happening across all of these briefings. So if I see this article here at the top of this list, this means it's recent and it's relevant for me. I can go and read it. See if I think it's good. I'll just save a little bit of time before doing that just on the webinar here. But now I can do a couple of things to signal to the rest of my team what I think of it. So I can just give it a thumbs up, just upvote it, which just gives it a +1 to say, nice piece of content, you might want to check this out. And that affects everybody else's views. So the more upvotes a piece of content gets, the higher up the list it will appear for everybody else. So that's a good signal to show to people you think something is worth having a look at. I can also add a comment. So, good practice in terms of curating and sharing content is to say why you think something is good. So I think this is an interesting article because ... add some value to it there. And then everyone in my team will see the comment that I've made here. I can also direct that comment at someone specific in the team, so I can mention them. So if I happen to know a colleague of mine is particularly interested in this type of article, I can mention him directly or her directly by just using their @ name here. And that will give them a direct message that this piece of content is really relevant for them. I can also flag it as a must read. So if I'm maybe leading this group or I've come across a piece of content that I think is really, really important and I want to drag everyone's attention to it, draw everyone's attention to it, I can just use that little flag as a must read there. And then that will give it just extra weight and extra voting in terms of me sharing it. Those notifications, me commenting on something or saying it's a must read, they all appear up here in the top right. So you see this little arrow here where I've got a 1 here. Anytime anyone marks something as a must read, or posts a comment or mentions you directly in a comment, you get a little notification up here. So it adds that extra filter. So the keywords and all the filters that we use in the briefings is bringing you relevant content anyway. But then as your team start to amplify content and start making sense of it and adding extra value to it, it's really drawing your attention to it. So on this dashboard view here on this homepage, I can see all of the recent activity that my team have undertaken regarding this set of briefings. So I can see Steve has upvoted what I know about pricing SaaS products here. So I know Steve, I trust his opinion. If he thinks an article is good, I'm probably going to have a look at it. So very much the same principles that you use in Facebook every day to see what content people have shared. That's what we're doing in here for professional content with your professional team. So I can use this to just quickly scan and see what interesting content people are talking about and sharing and get a really good sense of that. So that's how you use some of the team functionality to help you flag relevant content to each other. A couple of other things I wanted to quickly show you. I showed you how to create a briefing. Which all of the steps that we just walked through here. We've also created a load of briefings for you. So if you just want to skip that step of creating a briefing and just find something that's useful for you. So for example, we were looking at content marketing. We've already got a briefing on content marketing here, content marketing ROI, which I can follow. We've got briefings on content curation. I can just go to the content marketing section here where I've got a load of different public briefings available. And I can just click on any of those briefings. And if I like the look of them as they are, I can just subscribe to them. So I can subscribe to them as a team. So that would bring everybody in my team into the briefing. Or I can just subscribe personally. If I just want to keep it for myself because I'm interested in tracking this particular subject, but I don't want the rest of my team to be bothered with it, I can do that as well. So you can use it for your own personal interests as well as your professional interests as well. So that's just subscribing to public briefings that are out there. So I'd really recommend having a look at the Discover tool, which allows you to find a load of interesting briefings that we've created and put out there. The other thing I just wanted to show you is how you save content. So if you see an article, as I said, all of these briefings update every couple of hours. So what's top of the list here, most recent right now, won't be here in a couple of hours' time. New content will come in and take its place. So it's really important for teams to be able to hold on to content for future reference. Maybe you're kind of saving articles because you're working on a project together, or you're curating a knowledge base that you want to be able to come back to, or it's related to a piece of formal learning that you've done. To save an article, all you need to do is just click on this pin icon here. And what you can see is that brings up a couple of boards here. So this team, the startup community team, has created 4 boards already. Boards are just places where you collect content. So I might say this particular article, I want to save it into the growth hacking board here, just like that. I can also save it personally if I want to as well. So by default, everybody has 2 personal boards that you can save content to, favorites or read later. So maybe I think, well, I want to come back to this myself later on. I'll just add it there and just close out of that. And then all of those saved articles just go into my team saved boards here. So there's the growth hacking board that we were just looking at. There's the article that I just saved to the board as well. So that will always stay there. So anytime I want to come back to that article over time, I can always come back to it. The other thing that we just recently added, because someone suggested it to us and we thought it was a really good idea, was let's say you find an article out there on the web. And you think, I'd like to hold on to this. I want to pull it in and add a comment to it. All you need to do is go to the article. So I've just picked one here at a HubSpot article from their blog, copy the URL, and I'm going to manually add it to this board here. So just click manually add an article, paste in the URL, and then add it. And what that will do is it will just pull in the article just like that from the website. And now I can do exactly the same things to this as I could do to any other article. I can thumbs up, I can add a comment to it, I can flag it as a must read and so on. So any piece of content you find out there on the web, you can bring it in here and share it with your team, add a comment to it. So you'll have all of your team intelligence all in one place. So that's how Anders Pink works in terms of keeping you and your team smart. Every day. A couple of things to let you know that we were doing as well. You get a daily email digest. So if I just go back to the PowerPoint here, I can show you what that looks like. every morning you'll get an email that summarizes for you the key articles from your briefings and from your teams. So kind of that overnight, make sure you don't miss anything, start the day smart. You quickly flick through that on your phone or on your way to work, and you'll see all of the relevant articles that have come into the briefings that you're subscribed to, and any key activities that your team have done as well. We're also working on native apps at the moment, which will allow us to push notifications to you. So anytime someone flags or comments on an article that's relevant to you, we'll push it directly to you on your phone as well. Also coming soon, a few people have asked about this, is a Chrome extension, which will allow you, if you're using Google Chrome, to take an article, pull it directly into Anders Pink, and then just save it into your articles there. So that's how the tool works. So you create as many briefings as you want to, create as many teams as you want to. As you can see, I'm in lots of different teams. You could use one team for your sales team, one for marketing, one for research, whatever it might be, and then create briefings on any kind of topic that you want to. We've seen people create briefings on lots of different types of things. So practical tips was the example I showed you, or trending content. You can also create them to just round up content from lots of different influencers, track a particular brand. It's quite an interesting one on Competitor Watch here. So if I just show you an example of what that looks like, if I just go into another team here, you can create a briefing that just tracks everything that your competitors are doing. So just take all your competitors' URLs, pull them into a briefing like this one here. So here's a list of this company's competitor URLs. And then every time they publish a piece of content, you'll see it in one single briefing here. So it's a great way to do kind of market scanning, keep on tabs of what your competitors are doing, or if you want to track a particular company or a stock, you can keep on top of what they're doing as well and remain more informed. So that's how we help you stay smart every day. Really welcome any questions or comments you have. So just stop sharing my screen and welcome any feedback that